The news begins with updates on the End Bad Governance protest. Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka has said that President Bola Tinubu's nationwide address on Sunday failed to address the attacks on End Bad Governance protesters by security agencies. Professor Wole Soyinka made the observation in a statement on Sunday following Tinubu's address to the nation. Soyinka said in listening to the address, his major concern was the continuing failure of government in protest management. He condemned the use of tear gas and live bullets by security forces, saying such entrenches a seemingly unbreakable cycle of resentment and reprisals. According to Professor Soyinka, hunger marches constitute a universal SOS, not peculiar to Nigeria, and serve as summons to government that a breaking point has been reached. He added that the tragic response of to the ongoing hunger marches in parts of the nation, and for which notice was served, constitutes a retrogression that takes the nation even further back than the deadly combination of the Watershed End SARS protests. And in the same vein, human rights lawyer Femi Falana has called on President Bola Tinubu to address the demands of the peaceful protesters. In a statement on Sunday, Falana said that the presidential speech delivered yesterday morning fell short of addressing the key demand of the protesters, reversal of the policy of the withdrawal of fuel subsidy. While congratulating the protesters for drawing the attention of politicians who are eating in Abuja to the plight of millions of Nigerians who are hungry, Falana demanded the immediate and unconditional release of all protesters that were arrested and detained, saying they had not committed any criminal offense. Falana also condemned the repression of the peaceful protesters while commiserating with all those who lost loved ones in the protest. He called on the government to set up commissions of inquiry to bring to justice those responsible for the reckless killings. And also in the news, some residents of Nigeria's federal capital, Abuja, have expressed disappointment over the recent broadcast by President Bola Tinubu addressing the nation in regard to the End Bad Governance demonstrations across the country. They say the broadcast failed to address concerns raised by citizens. Amading Uyi reports.
The government have been stealing from my family.
It's been 4 days of protests around the country.
We are going to show the government how democracy is done.
Despite a clampdown by security operatives, Nigerians have remained defiant, saying the hardship being witnessed by citizens is unbearable. Many of them vow to continue the protests.
The protest will continue as long as I'm so. My name is Abdul Hamid, and I stand to be corrected.
Nigeria is in a state of comatose because what is happening in this country today is a starvation, not even hunger. Some people can barely eat.
If you come to the markets now, the cost of a bag of rice is 80 to 80,000, between 79 to 80-something thousand. And you are still claiming that you've removed or you've suspended duties on drugs, malaria drugs that mean that most massive, because Nigeria is an endemic environment to malaria. How many people can afford malaria drugs now? So most people are resolving to self-help of herbs and all that.
President Bola Tinubu, in an early morning broadcast, assured citizens that he is not insensitive to their cries. However, several residents of the federal capital expressed disappointment over the broadcast, saying it did not address issues raised by citizens.
I don't think that he really understands the reason why the youth are out on the streets. To me, it's just for him to admit, okay, I'm going to deal with this. For now, you give us a lot of time to still work, because we are not expecting him to do everything in one day. Neither are we expecting him to do any magic. But the few points that has been raised, how did he address it? Number one, that we want the subsidy, the fuel. That is the number one thing that is in.
Our president addressed people in normal way, but for us, the thing where our president don't do is not enough. But make our president still at work, because things is not easy for everybody now.
Now let's watch and see, because ever before Tinubu administration, the country have already collapsed. Let's see the God should touch the President Tinubu so that he can do what he promised Nigeria. That's the only thing.
To me, I would not really say his statement has really addressed the concerns of most Nigerians. I feel that is just the usual political statements that we've always heard.
With many of the protesters vowing to continue their demonstrations, it is hoped that they reach a compromise with government soon. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadine Uyi.
Now joining us in the news is Chris Akwarandu, the public affairs commentator. Good morning and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great to have you. Let's get your reaction, first of all, to the president's address. Many have said that, it doesn't show that he understands what Nigerians are going through. Same with Professor Wole Soyinka and many other, commentators. Do you agree with, those thoughts?
Well, first of all, we need to understand who he was addressing. He was addressing his satellite supporters. He was addressing those who could take a bullet for him. He was addressing those who could die for him. So, in effect, he was telling them, look, these are the things I am trying to do. These are the things I'm doing. The others don't understand what I'm doing. So I want you people to stay there, to support me so that I can go on doing what I promised I was going to do. Secondly, if you go back to old speeches of various leaders from Shagari after the Matasine riots to Babangida after the June 12th annulment, to Abdusalam Abubakar, to Goodluck Jonathan after the 2012, you can see they tell people, these are the things I feel, this is the way I feel about it. It doesn't really matter how you feel about it. 3, it's also very important for us to ask ourselves, who listened to the speech? How many people actually listened to him? People had closed their minds as, oh, well, he's going to talk nonsense, or I don't care about what he wants to say. But if you watched the speech, he was talking about the things he's trying to do. Now, he has already said he wasn't going back on the removal of fuel subsidy. So why were you expecting him to say he was going back to it? He had already said, look, I'm addressing hunger. I have opened the borders for 150 days. I've removed duty for importation of food items and medicines. So what were you expecting him to say anyway? What?
Yeah. Good question. But, he also called for a dialogue. He asked that the leaders of the protest should come forward for dialogue. So, has he done enough or said enough for us to get to the stage of dialogue at this point?
Yeah, but who is he dialoguing with? Who are the leaders of the protests? Civil society is not leading. NSC is not leading. NANS is not leading. ASU is not leading. NMA is not leading. So who is leading the protest? So who is he going to dialogue with? So he has to go back to the traditional leaders, to the governors, whatever political associations that are available to talk to them. What I want Nigerians to understand is, if we aggregate ourselves to protest, there must be plan for it. It's not just about end hunger. The point is, are Nigerians aware that 40% of what was produced last year were all swept away by flood? And Nigerians are aware that the hunger is caused by corruption. Look, there is incipient corruption in this country. Do you know that the MDAs, ministries, departments, and agencies are not happy because their fuel supply for bribery is also being shut down? Okay, so there are a lot of things going on. Are we asking ourselves what we are doing as a people? If the president says, I've removed fuel subsidy, shouldn't we tell him to put that subsidy in agricultural production? How can you have a country that can't feed itself? How can we import every single item that we consume in our nation? Why are we happy about that? The little foreign exchange we're earning, we're frittering it away in importing every single thing. Now, I have a problem with the elites of this country. They are also making the people not to listen. This is a country where people are, they've made up their minds that, look, this is where we're going. Are you asking yourself that as you cheat where you are, as you do everything wrong against the constitution of this country where you are, that you are also impinging on the rights of other citizens of the country. That's what my problem is. I listened to the president. In fact, let me tell you, I expected him to address the country on the 31st before the 1st. But he didn't do that because he didn't want to bother himself, because he feels, oh, I'm doing something about it. His friends, probably his wife and his close associates, would have told him, oh, talk to these people. And he comes out to say, okay, aren't you people seeing the things I'm doing? Aren't you feeling the things I'm doing? Can't you give me a little chance to achieve what I want to achieve? Yeah. That's the essence of that speech. So even if you get angry from now till tomorrow, he does not care about what you are thinking. The point is, he feels that in the next couple of months, he's going to achieve what he wants to achieve, and he says, wait and see. Oh, that's what I understood from the speech.
Quickly, what do you think should happen, you know, from, I mean, if the protests get to the 10 days that they were originally scheduled to run for, what happens post those 10 days if the president maybe doesn't return to once again address Nigerians, or hasn't, you know, doesn't do anything to address the demands of the protesters? Would you expect that protests will continue, or do you expect Nigerians to simply go back and, you know, say to themselves that they've achieved what they wanted to set out to achieve, which is to protest for 10 days, even if, you know, the Nigerian president didn't make any changes?
I tell you, this protest will fizzle out. Look, there was this discussion around corners, Nigeria, that the protest was going to heat up today. But I can assure you that in most cities, people are going back to work. This is a country where people live on a daily basis. So why would they starve themselves because they're protesting? All right? Secondly, the president himself is somebody that has prepared to be president for donkey years, and he knows how to be president. He has already gotten around the country giving people things to, look, my friends, go and make sure that this thing doesn't continue. Now, there's also another problem, which is very bad. If the opposition party leaders did not start talking, did not start saying, protesters must go on and support you, then the protests must have been led by people who don't have political cleavages. So the president must have felt, okay, oh, since these people are supporting them and they lost the election, I had more than 9 million anyway, so where are they going to get the votes to get me out? Okay? Now, the president would have also told himself, I know what I'm doing. I believe in what I'm doing. Let me tell you, in the history of this nation, this is one president who prepared to be president. This is one president who is aware of the burden of leadership. This is one president who believes that, look, I know what I'm doing, so just stay there and let me do it. So there's nothing that will happen. This is not going to get to 10 days. I can assure you of that.
All right.
Fourthly, these speaking out. So, you know, after the first day, a lot of people are beginning to get tired. Oh, well, we're going, we need to eat, and so on and so forth. And then, you remember the military came out through the CDS. He said, look, if the police is overwhelmed, the military will come in. And then, so nobody wants to die now. Yeah. And then in some parts of the country, you know, people are not participating in this. They feel, well, what will be the end of this? Anyway, why do I have to join in this? So there's already a group of Nigerians who are feeling that, well, since he has said this, why don't we go on and support him and see how it worked? But I tell you the truth that this protest was not really planned to last.
Yeah. All right. Very interesting perspectives there, Chris Akwarandu. Thank you very much for joining us. We look forward to speaking with you again.
It's a pleasure.
All right. You're still watching News Central now. We'll take a short break. When we come back, the news continues.
Yam. But some Nigerians are exporting yam to UK. No country can be self-sufficient. The way God wired human being, we have to depend on one another. Nigeria, we cannot grow rice.
And this is a live feed from the Ojota area of Lagos State, where the protest continues, apparently on day 5 of the End Bad Governance protest. We have joining us this morning our correspondent, Ni Omoni, who's live in Ojota this morning. Good morning, Ni. Tell us exactly what's going on over there.
Good morning, Osarogie. Well, it's day 5 of the End Bad Governance protest here at Ojota, and as against what we've been seeing in previous days, the numbers are not so much, as you can see, but it's still early in the hours of Monday, and hopefully, as events unfold, we might get to see a number of people trooping more. But we know that before we got here, activities had resumed across the various places. Buses are operational. Even this road is extremely busy. Shops are now open, but this hasn't stopped this selected few to get here and, of course, to air their views. I'm here with one of the organizers. To actually give us more insight on this. You were here, I saw you the day before yesterday, I saw you, you were here yesterday. I'm not sure you were here physically yesterday, but of course you've been trying to coordinate this from time being. The president has spoken. In fact, it seems like Nigerians, so many other Nigerians have kind of moved on, adaptive, and say, you know what, let's just move on, because we can see it from the numbers here. How does that make you feel?
Well, the president's speech were a bunch of many words that meant nothing. He reeled out statistics that had no specific connection with what Nigerians are actually facing, which is the reality of the magnitude of hunger in the country. And we can see the massive discontent that have greeted the so-called speech. The speech was nothing but a blackmail on the Nigerian people, on protesters who are simply demanding for bread, right? The president made no recognition or made no mention of a single demand of the protest. Rather, he went on reading out statistics of some of the things that his administration have done. And over a year of implementing these policies, the 1 year of his policies have created nothing but abject suffering for the Nigerian people. So I think the mass discontent is what you see here today, that despite attempts for the state to demobilize a protest, for instance, yesterday, the Lagos state government sponsored people here to come and announce
exactly, because I was going to ask you about that. A man identified as JP came here and he said he was one of the organizers. Can you confirm that?
We don't know him. As a matter of fact, since he came to the protest ground on Saturday, and since he came to the protest ground, he has been antagonistic of what we've been doing. He's been looking for ways to ensure the protests degenerate into chaos, so that police can then, the state can then lash on that as an opportunity to violently repress the protest. As a matter of fact, since he came on Saturday, he has been acting as an agent of provocation, let me put it out. So we knew what his plans were all along. In fact, people even told us that he attends the same church as Governor Sanwo-Olu. So these are persons who are agents of. As a matter of fact, they even sent one of their own to your station, Kehinde Agedo, to come and deodorize Tinubu's.
Can you identify which of this person was sent to our station? Do you know his name?
Sure, his name is Kehinde Agedo. It's all planned.
Okay, I think that's a member of the Take It Back movement.
No, he was not a member. He was a member, but because of his consistent romance with the state, more than 2 years ago, he has been banished as a member of our movement.
So you're confirming to us now that Kehinde Agedo, which was formerly a member of the Take It Back movement, has been banned?
I'm the national coordinator of the movement, and I speak authoritatively when I say that he had been expelled from the movement.
Okay, let's just quickly turn back to what's happening here. As I said earlier, it seems so many people have decided to move on, but the selected few are still here. Do you think this movement will still last? Will it still carry the same fire? Because this morning they tried even moving past again, but they couldn't. Are you worried about this?
That was exactly where I was going to. As regards the propaganda works of the states, where they sent their agents here yesterday to come and announce that protests have ended. And you see, that was the information most of the media had. As a matter of fact, this morning, the police commissioner was still on air announcing that protests has ended. So they did that actual job of demobilizing from yesterday down to today. So what you see here today is the outcome of the demobilization the state had invested public resources into. But already our people are turning out, because as we've started sending them new informations. If you check all of the reactions online and the media reports about President Tinubu's speech, it was clear that there is no single, that all facets of the country, all regions, everybody are dissatisfied with the speech, whether young or old, media, the civil society, everybody is dissatisfied. Everybody, even people like Professor Wole Soyinka, Falana
is also dissatisfied.
So the point here is that Nigerians will keep protesting on the streets, they will keep protesting in the neighborhood, they will keep occupying state government houses until our demands are acceded to.
All right, thank you very much. I will try to hold off here, Osarogie, because I have someone here who I would like to also speak with, but I'll throw it back to you in case you want to give me the opportunity to speak to more people on ground. Yeah, I wanted, that you help me ask him, what happens, does he expect that the protest will last till day 10? And then what happens after it passes the 10th day and Nigerians still don't see any, positive changes from President Bola Tinubu? What is their plan next? Does it just end on the 10th day and everyone goes home? All right. So let me speak with one of the protesters here so they can even speak more. We've heard from the organizer, but I have here Mr. Yemi Ayeni. Yes. You're one of the protesters on ground. And yes, it's a Monday morning. You should be somewhere, and I guess you decided to come here today. It's day 5. Do you think this will last till day 10?
Because there's nowhere for people to go. The only place any place that any responsible Nigerian should come is this place. Even where you are going to go and work, you are not even sure of the security. You are not even sure, maybe at the end of the month, the owner of the company may say, I'm sorry, I can pay you. So where every Nigerian should be now is this protest ground. Protest does not mean we want to hijack government. That's not the idea. The idea is that we want the government to know that their policy is hurting us. Because according to what we are running, they said democracy is the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. These are the people that voted them in. So they should listen to us. All this aid, they are not telling Tinubu the right thing. In fact, maybe this thing could have not done. I was so pained yesterday when they said about 13 people lost their life. In a civilized country, the president should be held accountable.
All right.
The senator should be held accountable. The House of Reps should be held accountable. All right. These are the people that represent the people. But because they are not representing, or they are representing their pockets.
So one thing is that this will go on, right?
I expect Tinubu yesterday. He is the statement of yesterday that triggered this.
All right.
Because what he said yesterday is like somebody that's still campaigning.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. I would just like to get this last notion from one of the protesters we've always seen on ground here, who has always aired a view. And you've been strong about your opinion about what the country is going through, what President Tinubu said yesterday. If after 10 days you still don't get any results, what will be the next line of action?
After 10 days. You will know that after 10 days. Yes.
It's day 5, and this is the number. If we compare it to what it was from day 1, day 2, day 3, and it, as one of the organizers said, it seems the alleged demobilization strategy the government is using in terms of giving information that the protest has ended seems to be working. Are you worried about that?
I'm not. I've always been a lone soldier. It doesn't take every city, it doesn't take 1 million people to fight for what is right. It takes one man who believes and has 1 million reasons to fight for that thing. Do you understand? Even if it is one person left here, I'll be standing right beside that person because I know what that person is fighting for is true. Hunger day. They might not be feeling the hunger. And let me say this to the camera. Shame on the House of Reps. Shame on the National Assembly. Shame on you all. You people are watching people die of hunger and you cannot do anything. With the co-presidents, una they hide, una they travel, they go abroad. Una know waiting with the talk. Una know some of even do something for the community. Una know green do. Tomorrow you'll come back. You'll say, may they vote for you. I don't want to use wrong terms, but see, you are a disgrace. All of you there, you are inhumans. And you see that money where they want to chop for that place, it go choke now. Time will come, you remain in Abuja, you will not come back to Benin, you will not be able to come back home, you will not be able to come back to Lagos, because you people are wicked. We are mentioning president, not president, vice president, whatever the that. You people should be calling for emergency meeting. You are supposed to be talking to the president right now. Let's hear that there's an indoor emergency meeting going on. That's what should be happening.
What do you think would be one particular step right now the president can take that will make these people say that, oh, okay, the president has even done something? You think there's one thing that can convince the people off the street right now? One step.
How many times we want to come? Reduce fuel. You said that subsidy was wrong. Oh, subsidy, people were siphoning money through the Subsidy Act. Then what did you now do? You removed subsidy. What did you now bring as an alternative? Because of we that are poor on the streets. Dangote came out the other day and said he needs to buy crude from abroad to Nigeria to refine before selling. And you are aware that we have crude in this country. We export crude abroad to be bought, but because of their useless cabal and wickedness, he has to buy from abroad. And you say you mean where?
Thank you very much. You've heard it. These are just one of the many pains and agitations of the people here, and they've said they will not back down. They will not be suppressed. They will not allow any sort of information to decentralize them so much that they won't gather here. Let me just give you a view of what the security operatives, the security forces here are like. As you can see, this place has been cordoned off, just as we've seen from the beginning of the protest. We have some members of security teams just across everywhere, and even behind me here we have a handful of police officers, CTUs, RRS, name them, they are all here. I would just also like to give you the view of the vehicular movement. You can see things are going on as normal. Vehicular movement is operational. People are going back to their normal duties. Even on the bridge there, you can see everyone. It almost seems like, aside this set of people standing here right now at Ojota, every other person has done what most times they do: move on. But it's not for me to say. It's alleged, anyways.
All right, very interesting report there, and of course, the people that you got to speak with, you know, they seem to have a lot of anger and frustration. We're hoping that the next couple of days, the Nigerian president and, of course, people in government understand what needs to be done. You know, I enjoy the part where she's also called out the House of Reps and, of course, National Assembly members, you know, and asked them what exactly their role is at a time like this. Neil will join you again. Thanks for your time this morning. All right. Now, several rights activists in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, have vowed to go on with the End Bad Governance protests, which have rocked the nation in the last 4 days. Some of them spoke to newsmen in Abuja, saying despite much anticipation over the presidential broadcast to citizens, President Bola Tinubu failed to address concerns which sparked the protest. Idong Joseph completes this report.
After 3 days of demonstrations across the country, the much-awaited presidential address to the nation was finally delivered. While President Bola Tinubu's national broadcast to the nation was expected to address the growing concerns of the protesters, some rights activists say that the president showed no empathy in his broadcast. They say that the policies and programs highlighted by the president in his speech continue to favor the nation's political elites without due regard for the poor and vulnerable.
The claim by President Tinubu that our protests are driven by political agenda to tear Nigeria apart is nothing but an attempt to call a dog a bad name so that it can be harmed. It is a gross misrepresentation of the obvious facts and has become the economic reality of all Nigerians. These protests have been largely faceless and leaderless.
To further confirm that President Tinubu's disconnection from the masses borders on psychopathy, the president started ruling out economic figures in the typical neoliberal attitude that prioritizes some abstract economic growth over the immediate welfare needs of the people. This is the typical attitude of Nigerian leaders in the past, which our generation is rejecting, that you will not reel out economic figures to us while not connecting it to our present immediate needs.
Some of them also raised alarm over the continuous harassment by security operatives, describing the situation as unfortunate.
The president has tried to make us look like we are the violent ones. But every day since we've been organizing, the violence has been incited by the Nigerian police, the DSS, the soldiers, and the civil defense. And we are saying that as Nigerians, we should not have to beg We should not have to explain ourselves before we express our right to protest.
People complain about looters, those who came to disrupt the protests. These are products of this establishment. Because as long as you keep having poor people around you, then even you are not safe. An average hungry man is a potential criminal.
We are not afraid of bullets. We are not afraid of tear gas. We are afraid of life without purpose. A life without hope, and that is what our leaders have given us.
They described the president's speech as a disappointment to their expectations and called on citizens to come out en masse to continue the protests. In Abuja for News Central, I am Idong Joseph.
Thanks to Idong Joseph for that report. Now, the Plateau State Governor Caleb Mutfwang has declared a 24-hour curfew in Jos and Bukuru metropolis. In a statement on Sunday night, the governor said the curfew was imposed in the affected areas following reported cases of looting of goods in the Bauchi Road community and Zolo Junction by hoodlums on Sunday. According to a statement signed by the governor's Director of Press and Public Affairs, Gyang Bere, Governor Mutfwang, in consultation with state security agencies, decided, after reviewing of the actions of unscrupulous individuals who exploited the nationwide protest, to unleash terror on innocent citizens. The statement added that the governor warned those planning to unleash further terror on innocent citizens to desist immediately or face the full wrath of the law. And still in the news, the Nigerian Union of Journalists has condemned the intimidation and harassment of reporters covering the countrywide demonstrations with the hashtag #EndBadGovernance in Nigeria. The union stated that these acts were carried out by both state and non-state actors. In a statement by Achike Chude made available on Sunday, August 4th, by the NUJ's National Secretary Achike Chude, the statement assured that despite these condemnable acts, journalists would neither be cowed nor deterred from carrying out their responsibilities of engaging with society to inform, enlighten, and educate citizens to promote the public good. The Joint Admissions and Matriculations Board, JAMB, has given all tertiary institutions in the country 1 month to disclose all admissions conducted outside its Central Admissions Processing System, CAPS, before 2017. Public Communications Advisor for JAMB, Dr. Fabian Benjamin, who disclosed this at a press briefing in Abuja on behalf of the board's registrar, Professor Ishaq Oledi, on Sunday stated that the directive is aimed at enhancing transparency and fairness in the admissions process. He said that the decision marks the end of the condonement of illegal admissions window, which previously allowed institutions to incorporate unauthorized admissions into the system. Benjamin highlighted concerns over institutions colluding with candidates to falsify details for illegal admissions, which has led to fraudulent participation in the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC. Now, do you remember the 17-year-old Kanuri child, Musa Zanna Mustafa from Maiduguri, who developed an artificial intelligence platform dedicated to persevering the rich cultural heritage of the Kanuri people and the historical Kanem Borno Empire, as reported by News Central? Well, that young child has received substantial support from the Borno state government through the State Information and Communication Technology Development Agency. News Central's Umaru Kirawa takes us through the interesting story of the young talent in Borno.
Tell us a little bit of the history of the Kanuri people.
The history of the Kanuri people is rich and multifaceted, tracing back to ancient times and spanning several centuries.
The Kanuri Artificial Intelligence Platform, developed by the young Musa Zanna Mustafa, can now talk, an opportunity for the blind to also ask and listen to the rich Kanem Borno cultural heritage. Mustafa's initiative aims to ensure that the invaluable heritage of his community remains accessible to future generations in the digital age.
The government has done a lot. At first, they have given me a brand new HP laptop, and also they have given me they have offered an admission to me at the University of Maiduguri, studying computer engineering. They offered scholarship, a 2-year scholarship for me, which has made me very happy.
Center for Robotics and Artificial Intelligence Research is what the young child is engaged to spearhead for the benefit of the younger ones in Borno as the state recovers from insurgency.
In order to encourage him, we first provided a tool, working tool for him. And thereafter, we also felt it necessary when we had his story that, he tried admission 2 times and he couldn't get it. We encouraged him to go for it and will provide scholarship for him for 2 years.
The government was impressed with the talent of the young Mustafa in his quest for cultural sustainability.
I'm very much excited as he has been encouraged, and then I would like to commend and thank His Excellency Professor Babagana Umara Zulum for bringing forth an establishment, Borno State Information, Communication and Development Agency. This is the first time something as such has ever been done to Borno State.
The package aims to provide the young Mustafa with the necessary tools and resources to realize his full potential and contribute to the advancement of AI in Borno State.
Borno has gone far in digital revolution. The last 4 years of the governor is Borno transformation. But this time around, e-governance will come on board. Everything will be e.
The talented young Mustafa narrates his ordeals of gaining admission lately and the challenge of spearheading the robotics and AI research unit of BIGDA.
I almost missed 1 exam, but most of the things we are doing at the exam, I've done it at home. I used my laptop to visit some online lessons. Thereby, I did my exam successfully. I would do as much as I can to bring an impact to my education.
Through interactive session and personalized feedback, learners worldwide can now embark on a journey to master the intricacies of the Kanuri people, fostering greater understanding and appreciation of cultural diversity. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
And we'll say congratulations to the young Musa Zanna Mustafa. We'll take a short break. When we come back, the news continues. Welcome back. In stories in other parts of the continent, Mali has said that it is breaking diplomatic relations with Ukraine, accusing a senior Ukrainian official of having admitted Kiev's role in heavy defeat of the Malian troops suffered in July. Mali government spokesperson Colonel Abdoulaye Maiga made this known in a statement that the government had been shocked to learn of remarks by Andrew Yusuf, spokesman for Ukraine's military intelligence agency. Members of the Russian mercenary group Wagner were among the casualties in the defeat, which happened in late July in the north of the country, and which Mali's military rulers have blamed on separatists and jihadists. Speaking on Ukrainian television, Yusuf said the whole world was aware that the rebels had received the necessary data that allowed them carry out the operation against the Russian war criminals. Now to other parts of the world, UK leader Keir Starmer has warned far-right protesters would regret participating in England's worst rioting in 13 years as disturbances linked to the murder of 3 children earlier this week flared across the country. Masked anti-immigration demonstrators smashed several windows at a hotel that has been used to house asylum seekers in Rotherham, South Yorkshire. Unrest related to misinformation about the mass stabbing last Monday in the northwestern English seaside town of Southport has hit multiple towns and cities, with anti-immigration demonstrators clashing with police. The violence is a major challenge for Starmer, elected only a month ago after leading Labour to a landslide win over the Conservatives. Now in business news, Nigeria's sovereign risk premium surged to an 8-month high as its dollar bonds were some of the worst performing emerging market assets, amid concerns that cost of living protests across the country could derail the government's economic reform plans. On the other hand, the stock market recorded mixed performance as the Nigerian Exchange Limited depreciated last Thursday, the first day of the protest, and appreciated on the second day, Friday. The past week's unrest comes soon after violent protests had forced another African nation, Kenya, to scrap crucial measures introduced to raise budget revenue. And also in business, the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, JSE, has issued a public censure and a suspended fine of 3 million rand to state-owned utility Eskom for failing to comply with its debt listing requirements. In a SENS announcement released on the 2nd of August, the JSE noted as a state-owned entity and issuer of debt securities, Eskom has a continued obligation to adhere to these requirements. In 2020, the JSE implemented specific rules for state-owned entities, including policies on the disclosure and treatment of domestic prominent influential persons and related parties. Eskom failed to comply with these rules, leading to a series of extensions granted by the JSE. Despite these extensions, Eskom did not meet the deadlines to publish the required policies and registers on its website. And now in sports, President Bola Tinubu extends his warm congratulations to Nigeria's the Tigress for advancing to the quarterfinals of the women's basketball tournament at the 2024 Paris Olympics. This achievement marks the first time an African team has reached this stage in Olympic basketball. The president praises the team for their remarkable resilience, teamwork, and diligence. He also commends the coach and managers for their commitment and hard work. The president encourages the Tigress to remain focused and strive for final victory. He assured the team and all Nigerian participants at the 2024 Olympics of his steadfast support as they represent the nation on the global stage. And also in sports, Nigerian athlete Samuel Ogazi has made a remarkable Olympic debut by qualifying for the 400-meter semifinals with a personal best of 44.50 seconds. This achievement is historic as Ogazi becomes the first Nigerian male athlete to reach this stage in 400 meters since 2008. His performance earned him an automatic spot in the semifinals, where he aims to become the first Nigerian in 28 years to reach the final. His compatriot Chidi Okezie finished fourth in his heat with a time of 45.52 seconds and will have a chance to qualify through the the other round. The 400-meter heats also saw impressive performances, including the fastest time by USA's Michael Norman at 44.10 seconds. And that's all at this hour. But before we go, let's take a look at some of the other major stories. We told you that reactions have continued to trail President Tinubu's speech to the nation yesterday. And JAM gives varsities and others 1 month to disclose admission details. Finally, Mali broke off diplomatic relations with Ukraine. Remember to send your eyewitness reports to the WhatsApp number on your screen. And do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. To watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, StarTimes channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Osarogie Ogbonmwan.